Hey, what's up, everybody? This is BoxingWave. It's been a little while. All right. I felt like it's been a while. I haven't been on YouTube since my prediction video or my breakdown video for Devin Haney and Jorge Linares. All right. I wasn't able to give you guys an Ubali and Nonito Donaire prediction. I actually been pretty sick over the past week, and I'm probably not going to be on live too long today. All right. I'm still recovering a little bit. But I don't have COVID or anything like that. First off, I just want to say that I appreciate everyone that tuned in. I mean, hit me up and wished me well. All right. But yeah, no, I don't have COVID, and I am doing a little better, but I'm not gonna be on too long today because I can't talk for too long. But yeah, I wanted to go over the fight because I just couldn't wait to get back on YouTube and talk about this fight and over all of the fights over the weekend and all this news that just keeps piling up in boxing. What's up, everyone coming in? First off, make sure you guys, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. But yeah, man, there's so much, there's so much news that's rolling in, and I can't wait to get back on here because there's so much stuff that I want to talk about with you guys. So many fight announcements. Heard today that Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley is going to be fighting each other, which is crazy. I was not expecting that. I'm actually very interested in that, and I'm actually excited to see that fight because that Tyron Woodley is the real deal, even though he's past his prime, he was the real deal as a UFC fighter. But anyway, all right, let's talk about Devin Haney. There's so much I want to discuss, man. Journeyman, what's up, man? What's up, guys? Coming, Chris, Noah, George. Journeyman says Tyron Woodley by TK around 6 or 7. I'm hoping so. I'm thinking that, but we'll see. Hopefully he's in shape. Ben Askren was obviously not in shape when he fought Jake Paul. All right, but Ben Askren is not Tyron Woodley. He's not on his best day. All right. But let's talk about the fights over the weekend. I was waiting for a few more people to join up so we can get started and go into Devin Haney and Jorge Linares. I'm sure a few of you guys already heard my post-fight review that I did the other day, the audio recording that I did. Excuse me. The audio recording I did the other day, which was a quick post-fight review. I really, I see a lot of slander, and it's normal. It's not really a big deal to me. I've been really active on Twitter the past few days, or especially the night of the fight or since the fight, because I wasn't able to make videos. So I wanted to address the fight. I wanted to talk about the fight and review it. So let's go back into the fight a little bit. I did watch some of it. I didn't watch all of it again, but I wanted to watch and skip through certain rounds that I thought were pretty debatable. I thought the fourth round was a debatable round between Linares and Haney. That was the first round that I felt like Linares started to really come alive. Also the ninth round, which is a round that I gave him, but I also thought it was a swing round because I felt like Devin Haney never really let his foot off the gas. Like he did good every round. It's just that there were certain rounds where we saw a lot more offense from Jorge Linares, right? And then you got the 10th round, right? Thanks, yo. Everybody's coming in. Thanks, Slim Pablo. Appreciate it, man. Prolific Soccer Train Club. What's up, everyone that's coming in? Let me get this off. The 10th round. I thought it was a clear round for Haney. Clear round to me. It's just that last punch. That last punch that rocked him. All right, is what originally made me give him the round. But I did go back and watch the round. Clear round for Devin Haney. All right. It's just that last punch caught him, rocked him, wobbled back to his corner, And the 11th and 12th round was all about survival for Devin. There was a moment where it seemed like his legs were back, but they really weren't. He was definitely hurt by the punch. And we're going to talk more about that punch because I brought this up, that same punch, up in a previous fight breakdown with Vasyl Lomachenko. I even put, a little clip on my Instagram account, basically say, this is the punch. This is the punch right here, that I was worried about Loma getting caught by Teofimo Lopez. So short right hands, very dangerous punch. And Linares, that's his best punch. I said that going into this fight, that short right hand it's the punch that hurt anyone that he's ever knocked out or even hurt, was caught by that shot. All right. But anyway, let's talk about the fight. It was a good performance from Haney to me. I liked his boxing. I loved his hand speed. I loved his defense. All right. In the first half of the fight, whatever way you scored it, I liked what he was doing. He was controlling the fight with his jab. First off, his jab was incredible. I liked what he was doing. I even thought his defense was good when he was if he got caught with a few check left hooks, but a lot of those were blocked, and I was impressed by that, because Linares was trying to time him, and he was timing Devin when he was stepping in and exchanging, and at times he would counter and time Devin Haney with that check left hook, but a lot of those shots were blocked. They were definitely blocked, and I was a little impressed by that. I think with that check left hook, but a lot. Oh, my phone is playing the video. All right. So yeah, no, I thought he could do a good job with that, and I think he was clearly outboxing Linares, who was very fast and very sharp. And then we go into the second half of the fight where Devin was feeling very confident with himself, right? So he started to stay in a pocket with Jorge Linares, all right, which was very risky because he put himself in a position to get caught with one of those short shots that I was telling you about. And he was doing well, He always attacked the body. His punch variation is always good, right? He's going to mix it up. But when he was fighting in the pocket, I was very surprised because we never seen him really do that before with anybody, So I was very impressed that he was doing that. Plus, it was making it a good fight. It was an entertaining fight. Up to this point, a lot of people were criticizing him because he was boring, So this was the first, I'm not going to lie. And I'm a fan of Devin Haney, by the way. I'm a fan of all of these guys at 135. But I am a fan of Devin Haney. But he's not exciting as a Tank or a Teofimo Lopez or even a Ryan Garcia. I appreciate his boxing, but he's not quite excited as the other guys. You know what I'm saying? These guys have more power. They're more explosive. They can box well, but they got the power, and Devin is more defensive. So it makes him not as entertaining. Same thing with Shakur Stevenson, right? Shakur Stevenson's an amazing boxer, great defense, good setups and everything. Really well-schooled, mature young fighter, right? When he's in the ring, he fights very, very mature. But he's not as excited as a guy like a Chris Colbert, who's in the same division, he's more explosive. It is what it is. He might be better than him, whatever way you look at it. I don't know who's better between the two, but Chris Colbert can give you a little bit more entertainment. He can switch it up. He could fight righty to lefty. He could do so much more. He's so much more versatile. Plus, he can knock you out. We're not getting that for Shakur. So I would say Devin is like that. So I like the fact that he was taking the risk because he could have remained and kept outboxing Linares, but he didn't. He decided to give us a good fight. And I think it's because people started getting to him. He hears what people say about him in a Gamboa fight, in a Santiago fight, they hear what they're, the fans are saying. You're boring. You're not that impressive. You know what it is? And even trainers like Buddy McGirt, he came out and said that Devin don't get knocked out by any of these top fighters. Buddy McGirt is usually like laid back, chill. He really doesn't come out and say too much. For him coming out and like saying that was way left field. We never hear Buddy McGirt just randomly come out and start talking about a fighter in a negative way. So I think Devin came into this fight like, I want to go for the knockout. And he tried, and he made it a very physical fight. 10th round came, and he got caught with that right hand. It was pretty funny because he had the noodle legs, and he walked back to his corner, and he was smiling. But he was hurt, and he wasn't recovered by the next round. He caught one. But he held on. He tied up. He clinched for the remainder of the fight on and off. There was a point where his legs was a little better. So he tried to, make it more of a fight. I don't know if it was an 11th or the late 11th or maybe some of the 12th. He tried to fight a little bit, but you can tell like he never really recovered. People were complaining about the hugging. What are you supposed to do when you're hurt? You're dying in there. All these guys on the internet, they're talking about Devin Haney hugging. Well, if the man is hurt, what is he supposed to go out and you must really want him to get knocked out. And I think people are upset that he did not get knocked out because of the quote unquote hugging. He did what he had to do. That's what a mature fighter does. If you're hurt, hold on. Survive. If you're hurt, anyone does it. Warriors have done it. There's nothing wrong with holding on if you're hurt. That's part of the game. It's strategy. To go in there and win is what you need to do. And this is what I said on Twitter that night. I said, I was impressed that he gave us some good action with Linares, but you're supposed to go in there and win. At the end of the day, no matter what people say and criticize you for, you are always supposed to go in there and win. And if your strategy and what you're doing is working for you, why change it against a dangerous opponent? Speaking on that, let's talk about a little bit about Jorge Linares. Wait, let me go back to Haney for one more second. I understand why people don't like Devin Haney, right? I totally understand. Devin Haney has said some things, and he's continuing to say some things even after the post fight. He tried to shake off the right hand like he wasn't hurt, like it wasn't that big. He was okay. He tried to play it off, right? He didn't own up to it. He's being stubborn, right? The kid is 22. He's 22 years old. We know you were rocked. We saw it with our eyes. He was hurt. Just because he didn't own up to it, that's all a part of being stubborn. Lomachenko, he just lost to Teofimo Lopez. At first, he didn't think he lost the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many boxers actually own up? Some guys do, and I respect them. I love when they do it. He gave me a hard-ass fight. I think Andy Ruiz did it with Chris Arreola. Wasn't expected, but he got hurt, and he owned up to it. That's the gentleman he is. Devin Haney is not that kind of guy. So I understand why people don't like him. If you don't like him because of the comments he said about Lomachenko, which a lot of you guys don't like him for, calling him a white boy, saying that he would never lose to one. If that's why you don't like him, just say that. Just say you don't like him. But see, with me, I'm talking about boxing. I'm not talking about what he said outside of the ring. I'm talking about the fight itself. So if you don't like him because some of his comments, if you don't like him because his fanboys, right? Fanboys, if you don't like him because the LDBC support him, whatever reason you don't like him, I'm not discussing that. That's on you. I'm talking about the fight itself. So not liking him is one thing, but trying to downplay his opponent and his win and his performance just off the strength that you don't like him personally is two totally different things. Now let's talk about Jorge Linares. People want to downplay the guy, say that he's past it. Oh, he's not in his prime, but he's still very good. This was a huge step up. All right. Saying that he's some washed up fighter, that's disrespectful. Personally, Jorge Linares shouldn't even retire. He shouldn't even retire. He's good enough to continue on. All right. He's got knocked out. This is the first fighter that ever outboxed Jorge Linares. The first one. Everybody else Linares lost to, he was stopped. Even Lomachenko, and go and look at the official scorecards. That fight was a draw before the stoppage. It was a draw. No one ever clearly outboxed Jorge Linares. Saying he was washed up. All right. Well, there's a guy named Sergio Thompson who's pretty much a nobody. He was able to knock out Linares in 2 rounds years back. Lomachenko struggled against him. All right. No one wants to talk about let's not even talk about the knockdown. Let's talk about the right hand that Lomachenko got caught with. The same short right hand that Lomachenko got rocked with. Wasn't nearly as hurt as Devin, but it wobbled him a bit. Early in that fight, before the knockdown. Linares is a dangerous fighter, and if you've been watching him for a while, you would know that he has speed. You would know that he has power. Linares at 135 is capable of hurting anyone. So let's not try to downplay Linares now that Haney won the fight. That's unfair. You know, Linares, yes, he had his knockouts. You know, Lomachenko stopped him. He went up to 140, got knocked out by a guy at 140, you know. But he came back, picked up a couple wins, won against Morales, which it's not a world beater, but it's someone that gave Ryan Garcia a tough fight. It was a majority decision against Ryan Garcia. And I understand that Ryan was a little younger, okay, but Ryan was already hyped up at that time. Gave Ryan a hell of a fight. Well, we're talking about an older Linares who's out of his prime, and he destroyed Morales in just his last fight. Now, going based on the eye test, Linares is still very fast, very quick. Clearly, he still has power. Why wouldn't he have power? All right. His counters are still on point. Is he in his prime? No. Is he still good? Yes. Is he still much better than anybody on Devin Haney's resume? Absolutely. You know who I think is washed up? Yuriorkis Gamboa. That fight didn't make sense to me. You know, you had other guys out there that were available. Should he have fought Javier Fortuna? I agree with you. He should have fought Fortuna. Why not fight Fortuna? Why fight Gamboa? Did you want to take a safe fight first because you was coming off surgery? Maybe that was it. I don't know. You can ask. I don't know why Devin Haney didn't take the fight. But what I'm saying is, I understand that people don't like him, but it was a very good performance. The kid is 22 years old, and he just beat Jorge Linares. That's a good win. All right? Just like when Tank beat Jose Pedraza, was a good win. You know, Tank might have been around 22 at that time, right? 22, 21. Same thing with Ryan Garcia being Luke Campbell, another guy in his 30s, all right, that had his best days. All right, good win. Another good win. All these guys getting their good wins. Now, is Teofimo Lopez ahead of all these younger guys? In my opinion, yes. In my opinion, yes. But not too long ago, Teofimo Lopez was getting the same treatment that Devin Haney is getting right now. All right. The reason why he's not getting it right now is because he proved himself. But not too long ago, Teofimo Lopez, a few years ago, he was calling out Lomachenko back then, didn't have anybody good on his resume. Didn't have anyone there. Said he wasn't impressed with him. All right. Now he's with Top Rank. He's moving up. He fights Nakatani. And Nakatani makes him look like shit. Right? Tio won, but wasn't his most impressive win. In fact, it probably made him lose some stock. So people started criticizing him. Yo, you went in there with this guy that we never heard from. None of us saw Nakatani fight before that. Before most of us didn't, right? He looks poor against this unknown guy, all right? And people said, you're not ready for Lomachenko. You struggle against this guy, Nakatani. What did he do? Come back and knock out Richard Coleman. And then he fights Lomachenko, and he wins the fight. So that's the point I'm trying to make here. It's not jump the gun. He got hurt, okay? He got hurt against Linares, but he was able to outbox him, the first to ever do it. I understand Linares is not in his prime. Maybe if he was in his prime, maybe he could have finished him off. And that's the one issue I have with Linares in this whole fight. Should have tried to go for it in that 11th round. But maybe Linares was trying to be careful. I have no idea. But he should have pulled the trigger in that 11th round. That is the one thing I criticize Linares for in that fight. All right. But anyway, overall, good fight. Good fight. Good fight. Let me just go through some of the comments, man. I know you guys are leaving a lot of comments. You know, I'm looking at some of them as I talk to you. But yeah, I just wanted to make that point. As far as moving forward, all right. Moving forward, and let me get some more water. Thanks, Noah. Thank you. Appreciate it. As far as moving forward, and this is the way I look at it at 135 right now. Teofimo Lopez, whether you like him or not, has achieved by far the most. You know, we're talking about the young guys here. I'm not talking about, Lomachenko and all these. I'm talking about the young guys. Teofimo Lopez did the most right now, to me, on paper. If we're gonna include Tank, because now they running with this whole 4 kings thing. I don't believe these guys are kings yet. All right. If anybody's a king, I would probably put Tio. The thing is with Tank, he's definitely more accomplished than Devin and Ryan Garcia, right? But the thing is, ever since, to me, and this is just me, this is just my opinion, I haven't seen improvement in Tank since that Pedraza win. I thought leading up to that fight, I thought he had all the potential in the world. And then when he beat Pedraza and stopped him, I was like, whoa, this kid could be the next big thing. And ever since then, and yes, he's had some great knockouts, right? But he hasn't fought anyone that I felt he wasn't going to knock out. He hasn't fought anyone that I felt that this is a dangerous fight. I don't know. He might lose this one. I haven't seen that. And I haven't seen improvements in his skills. He went up and then he just stayed out a straight line. And then it was like, or maybe even dipped a little bit, because there was fights like the Gamboa fight where I said to myself, nah, Tank was better than this guy we're seeing tonight on that night of the fight. The Gamboa performance was one of his worst. That's a guy there that's really washed up. Not a Jorge Linares. This guy, we remember Gamboa when he was, and he's even older. We remember what he was. And this guy was fighting on an injury since early in the fight. And Tank still couldn't get him out of there. What's his excuse? You know, but Tank accomplished a little more than the other guys. I say T.O. number 1 though, as far as accomplishments. I put Tank number 2. All right. Number 3, it's a toss up between Devin and Ryan. You know, Devin is just now getting that stamp of approval to me. And Ryan just got his earlier this year. But Ryan is out on mental health issues, but he's still Instagram and stuff about who he would have laid out, or, you know, who he would have caught. You know, these guys are not kings yet. Now, what I would like to happen is I would like for Teofimo Lopez to fight Devin Haney next, because I want them to settle this whole undisputed mess. Some of us think he is undisputed. Some of us don't. You know, Josh Taylor even came out and made a comment recently saying that you're not undisputed. You have 3 belts. You know, he has 4 belts. All right. But the franchise is what makes things complicated. And this has nothing to do. And shout out to I think he in here too. Shout out to my boy Tech Lid Bull. All right. He made a tweet to the other day, basically saying that the WBC owe these guys an apology. They owe Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez an apology, and this is their fault. This is something that went down before Teo even had a WBC title. All right, because this should have never happened this way. If you're not going to give Devin Haney the opportunity to fight, which would have been a warranted opportunity, because what's his name? Lomachenko fought Luke Campbell for that title and then went on to fight Teofimo Lopez, who just beat up Comey. So that was an undisputed, you know, it was a unification match. So that should oversee this mandatory thing. But they made this franchise thing, and now everything gets confusing. So these guys are getting all this criticism because of the organization. And you got Mauricio Solomon, who's been going back and forth, like they're undisputed, they're not undisputed, this is that. They're giving this guy a title, they're elevating him, like they're doing too much. They made everything complicated. So now Teo legitimately won against Lomachenko, who held 3 belts. And remember, the franchise title was non-transferable, but it was transferable when Teofimo Lopez won. Yo, everything that they came out with, remember when this franchise thing first started and they explained the rules with Canelo? Everything that they said in the beginning, it changed because it didn't make sense from jump. So they owe these kids an apology. They do, you know. Right now, to me, Teofimo Lopez should fight Devin Haney so we can clear this up. Now, a lot of you that feel that are anti-Devin Haney don't think he's that good, think he would get slept against Teofimo Lopez, then you shouldn't have no problem with the fight. You know? Shouldn't have no problem with the fight. Because Devin Haney don't have power. This is what I hear. This is what I read. Devin Haney doesn't have power. He doesn't have power. He got rocked by Linares. What is Teofimo Lopez going to do? Well, Teofimo Lopez should knock him out, right? So let's have the fight. What's stopping us from having a fight? Because technically he's not undisputed. Do I think he should be undisputed? Absolutely. He proved himself to me. So I think they should have the fight. And we can shut all of this down. If he beat George Kambosos, which I'm expecting him to, and that's no disrespect to George, I think George is a good fighter. But there's something different with Teofimo Lopez and even Devin Haney. These guys, I see they have a higher ceiling than George. George is cool. He's a worthy mandatory. He is a top fighter. But he's not on Teofimo Lopez's level. You know, I see them having the press conference they had. You know, they get in each other's face and all the trash talk. Teofimo Lopez is on a different level than George Kambosos. I am not expecting Kambosos to win. You know, that would be for me, that would be an upset, a real upset, you know. I want Devin Haney to go in there. That's why you trying to get that boy hurt. No, I'm not. He doing all this talking. I believe in him. Do I think he could beat Tio? Nah. But if he doing all that talking, he should be fighting Teofimo Lopez. And if you're a fanboy, right? If you're a fanboy, I'm not talking about a fan. There's a difference. If you are a fanboy, which basically means you think a fighter is above criticism. Nothing they do is ever wrong. You stand and back them up no matter what they do. Even if they contradict themselves constantly, you're by their side. You love them to death. All right? If you are a Devin Haney fanboy, you've been saying that Teofimo Lopez has ducked him. Right? And if you're a Teofimo Lopez fanboy, you've been saying that Devin Haney will get knocked out by him. He's fought nothing but bums. Easy work. So even if you're a fanboy, it goes in your favor, right? Because you're going to get what you want. If you don't like Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez will lock him out. And if you think Teofimo Lopez is overrated and ducking Devin Haney, you should believe that Devin Haney is going to outbox him. I like Devin Haney's boxing, though. I really do. It's a shame that he doesn't have more power. Because if he did, I might think he can beat Teofimo Lopez. Yeah. But the problem is, when he gets caught against Teo with a clean shot, I don't see him sticking around. He can't get caught with that shot that Linares landed because Teo's going to finish him off. He might not even have to. It might be one shot. Good night. We've seen that. Ask Richard Comey. That boy got power. Why do you think Lomachenko waited 7 rounds? He waited because he knew this kid could punch. He didn't take the same approach. We've never seen, the only other time where we've seen Lomachenko, all right, keep his gun on safety for too long was against Salido, the only other fighter that he lost to on paper, right? Lomachenko is quick, fast, out the gate. Ask Gary Russell, ask Nicholas Walters. But when he fought Teofimo Lopez, he changed up. So I don't understand why anyone would not want this fight. Ryan Garcia is on recess. He's on a break. He's doing whatever. He's on Instagram. You can find him on Instagram. That's where he's at. And Tank he's going to 140. He's doing what he wants to do. You know, he fighting when who he wants to fight. You know, he's going to 140. So yeah, I would like to see the fight. All right. About when it comes to being ready, I see some of your comments. What's up, Charles Edward Cheese? What's good? I see Alex. I see a comments. I don't want to see that kid get brutally hurt. Sorry. Well, you know what? Devin Haney is a champion. I don't want to see anyone get brutally hurt, especially that someone that I like. I like Devin Haney, but he's a champion, and I want him to prove himself. You know what? There was something that I wanted to address too on the breakdown video. Totally forgot to bring this up the other day. And again, for everyone that's here, thank you for the get well and comments you guys left. I appreciate that a lot. You know, I don't. For the people that was asking me if I have COVID, I do not have COVID. But I was really, really sick over the past week. But I don't have COVID or anything like that. I went and got tested. I'm good. I'm all good. All right. But I meant to bring this up, the trainer situation, because Devin Haney basically, or Bill Haney, his father, who's his trainer, his head trainer, stepped back a few months back and said, yo, I'm going to step back and I'm going to let Devin do his thing. I don't know if Devin was on a hunt for a new coach. I don't know what's up. I know Ben Davison worked with him in this camp, but Bill Haney was still his main trainer. All right. Found out the week of the fight that Bill Haney was still his trainer, but Ben Davison was working with them. Devin is a good defensive fighter. Like, I don't see many mistakes. I see some things that he can work out, but he's only 22 years old. And for a 22-year-old, I think he has extraordinary defense, right? There's things that he can tune up, but at his age, I think he's good. I was thinking, and see, let me know what you guys think. If Devin wants to become a little bit more of a puncher, be a little bit more aggressive in the way he fights, there are two fighters that are very good boxers that changed trainers in recent years, and we saw different results. Jamel Charlo with Derek James. I don't know if Haney and Derek James got any kind of relationship. Bill, I don't know. All right. But we saw the difference in Jamel Charlo. He was not nearly as aggressive. This is a guy that used to use the ring a lot, work behind his jab, set up his shots, wasn't knocking guys out like that, especially when he stepped up. He just wasn't. When he got with Derek James, started brutally knocking out guys, and he was stepping up and knocking out better fighters when he got with Derek James. If he could get with Derek James, maybe he can work on that power. All right. Another guy, Tyson Fury, in the Wilder rematch. You got with Javon Sugar Hill, and they worked on pressuring, putting more power down on those shots. And we saw the result in a rematch, right? I know a lot of people are going to go into the cheating allegations. I'm just basing on what I see. I know Glovegate was in the first fight and all that. I'm talking about the second fight and the actual results, the hard punching, all right? The knockdowns, Sugar Hill. You know what I'm saying? So if Devin Haney, and this is something I wanted to break up in the, if he's looking to move forward, if he feels that, all right, you know what? We got to do something else. Let's go to Derek James. Let's go to Sugar Hill. Let's learn, like, yo, I'm a good boxer, which he is. He has the skill set. The skill set is there. But that power We ain't really seeing it like that. Now that he's stepping up, and he's only going to keep stepping up. If he's not going to fight a Teofimo Lopez next, I don't know if he should change trainers within one fight. Maybe he should, if Teofimo Lopez is next, maybe he should stick with what he does now. Work with Ben Davison a little bit better. Worry about outboxing Teo instead of trying to knock him out. But if Teo goes on to do his thing, let's say he moves up to 140, he's done with the division. Excuse me. Maybe Devin should take the opportunity. Ryan's not available right now. Tank is doing what he wants to do. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he should work on, all right, let's get a trainer in here that's going to help me work on my power. All right. But find that balance, find that line where he can still be a good boxer and not fall too much in love with his power. I think Jermell Charlo made that mistake a little bit with Tony Harrison, gave too many rounds away in both of those fights. It worked for him in the second fight, almost worked for him in the first fight. And he did hurt Tony late. But Jermell Charlo, his power and his knockouts are insane. Jamal was always a guy with the power, always knocking guys out. Jamel now is he's crazy. He's a lunatic now. So Derrick James, man, Derrick James and Sugar Hill, two guys that I think there's other coaches out there more defensive, though, more defensive. Buddy McGirt, more defensive approach. We could go down a list, but I don't know. This is something that I was thinking the other day, last week, when I was listening. I was watching a video of him talking about his coach and working on Ben Davison. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. I seen a few of you guys say Sugar Hill. I seen a few of y'all say that, Derrick James. But anyway, so yeah, that's how I feel about it all. I think I pretty much wrapped it all up. We just gotta wait to see what Teo does if he is to beat George Kambosos, which is what I'm expecting. We just gotta wait and see where they're going from there. But I love Devin's boxing, man. I love it, and I'm glad that he was able to show us a different side of him. Did he get hurt? Yes, but he got hurt by a punch that hurt a lot of other fighters. And I do not believe that Jorge Linares is washed up and he should retire. All right. There are other fights out there for him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Loma beat him. But there are other fighters out there that's good for him, at 135, so I think he should stick around a little longer. Do I think he could be a champion at this point? No, I can't see him being Teofimo Lopez. I thought he was going to be a tough fight for Haney, but I also thought he was a tough fight for Ryan when we thought that fight was going to happen. All right. But yeah, he's still tough. Oh, I can't forget this. Oh, I cannot forget this. And I don't know if this still is actually in effect. When they announced this fight, and I'm not sure if a lot of you know this, but when they announced this fight between Devin Haney and Jorge Linares, and then we all went on to hear about Ryan Garcia against Javier Fortuna, there were articles that said that Javier Fortuna, the winner of this fight, will have 3 months, which is in August, to fight Javier Fortuna. All right. It was ordered when this fight was mandated. So I don't know if that's still in effect. I don't know if that can get in the way of things. I'm not mad at that because I'm waiting for one of these guys to get in the ring with Javier Fortuna. Ryan Garcia was supposed to, but since he didn't, I'm not mad at a Ryan Garcia or Javier Fortuna fight with Devin Haney. All right. But I mean, that might be a thing that might come up. We'll see. All right. But I would love Lopez and Haney. That is a or priority to me because that would be the legitimate undisputed claim. All right, not the 4 titles, because we keep saying he holds 4 titles, but you know, there's a stipulation in there, and I just want that stipulation to disappear, meaning basically saying franchise. That's the stipulation. All right. All right, let's talk Donaire against Nordine Ubali. I turned to the fight in the 4th round, and like a minute later, Donaire knocked this dude clean out. What the hell? I went back and watched the fight, and Donaire dominated him from jump. Donaire looked quick and powerful from jump. You know, they both fought last, and they're both rusty. The last time they both fought was on the same night on that World Boxing Super Series Championship between Donaire and Inoue, and Nordine Ubali fought the other Inoue, the other brother. Bro, I turned and watched the fight, and Donaire just slaughtered him, dropped him twice before the 4th round. I didn't give Ubali 1 round. I did do, like, I didn't do a breakdown, right? But I pretty much left a message. I'm sure most of you guys read it, where I basically said, you know, I thought Ubali was going to win a few rounds, you know, and be on point with that straight left hand. Listen, Ubali was drawing the straight left, but it just wasn't hitting. Ubali was moving. He was quick, but Donaire was just slipping those shots and countering with power. You know, it was just Donaire does not look like a 38-year-old or 39, whatever age he is. He does not look like that at all. And I believe, and congratulations to him, because he is the oldest Bantamweight third champion in the WBC ever. So good for him to even make that achievement there, you know. But yo, Donaire is still fresh, you know, and this is why I thought the knockout would come, but I was thinking like 9th round, 10th round. Like, I wasn't thinking like he was just going to get him out of there as quickly as possible. You know, for him to take a break, maybe it was beneficial for him to take a break and not fight as often, you know, because he came out looking fresh as ever. He destroyed. It's nothing to break down. He destroyed Ubali from the 1st round up to the 4th round. You know, he looked fresh, and it makes it. You know, now when we go back and watch the Inoue fight, which was one of the best fights of 2019, it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense why that fight was so tough. Why Inoue was hurt in that fight. It makes sense because Donaire is still no joke. He's still a threat, and he's not fighting at 122 or 126. He's fighting guys that are smaller than him at this point, you know, because he used to fight at the weight. I mean, he even fought, I think he started at 115. I think he even won a title at 115, right? So he got titles in 4 different divisions, moved up to 126. Walters did stop him. I think he made a stop at 122 before coming back down to 118. The fact that he can actually still make the weight is crazy to me, though. I can't believe he could still make 118, but a guy with his speed and his power, it makes perfect sense why he's still so strong. Now, what should he do? I know he wants to rematch with Inoue, which is great. That would be an even bigger fight now, because now that would be in a unification match with 3 titles, right? Casemiro has a WBO, and he's going to be fighting Guillermo Rigondeaux in August. And I don't know where Rigo is at this point. He is very old, okay, and he hasn't looked as impressive as Donaire in recent years. You know, he had that loss to Lomachenko. He went like over a year without fighting. Okay, I think he came back not the most impressive performance. He had one fight where he was like in a phone booth match with a guy, and people love the fight. I don't think Rigo fights that well on the inside. You know, I just don't. But he's going to be fighting Casemiro, and that's a good fight because we already know Casemiro is explosive. He has a lot of power, but he can be outboxed. And he can be hurt too because Rigondeaux has a lot of power too. And he's not fighting at 122. You know, he's not fighting at 126 against Lomachenko. He's fighting at 118. So you have to understand that guys like him and Donaire, yeah, they might be older, but they're still very fast. They're really accurate. They're sharp. They got a lot of power. And when they're coming down in weight, they're a threat to these guys like Ubali or Casemiro. All right. So, you know, depending on the winner of that fight, either the winner of that fight is good to me, either one. Because if Rigo beats Casemiro, we could get the rematch between him and Donaire. But if Casemiro wins the fight, we can get this big Filipino, you know, young guy against the older guy fight. And we know that there's a possibility someone could get knocked out in that fight. All right. Me personally, if I had to pick, like, because I don't know, I'm not too sure yet on who's going to win between Casemiro and Rigo. I'm not too sure. I would like to do a little bit more study before I come up with some kind of like off the top. I really don't know. But the winner of those two, I don't think the winner of those two beat Donaire. I don't. You know, Donaire is very durable, and he's very powerful, you know, and he's looking amazing, man. I think Donaire beats Casemiro. You know, Casemiro has a lot of power and everything, but so does the Donaire, you know. And I think Donaire today could probably beat Rigo. You know, I know he lost to him back in the day, and that's the fight that really put Rigo on the map. But I would probably pick Donaire today. You know, Noah says Donaire could fight Neary too if he comes back to 118. That would be lit as well. You know, let's talk about that a little bit. When Neary lost the fight, I wasn't too sure if he should come back down because he was struggling to make weight at 118 before anyway, right? And losing to Figueroa, I'm not sure if that is the fight you lose and you just move back down immediately. Because Figueroa, like I said before in a post-fight video, Figueroa is kind of like the wild card. You know, he has that style. He's the real pressure fighter amongst all of those guys there at 122. A lot of those guys at 122 are really, really good boxers. Figueroa is a guy that, you know, he has that weird style where it can give people trouble no matter who it is. You know, he's the kind of fighter that can throw you off because of that pressure and because the volume of punching and the fact that he's so durable. Neary always had power. So when he moved up, you know, we wasn't really too sure how that power was going to look. I know in the first fight Neary had at 122, he didn't look all that great. So I don't know if he should like move down immediately because I would have loved to see him fight Stephen Fulton, you know? I would have loved to see him fight some of the other top guys at 122. So I don't know. Maybe he should have one more fight. But if he is going to move down to 118, that would be a great fight. You know, I wanted to see Neary fight Inoue back then. You know, all those, you know, whatever option there is, they're all cool. I'm good. I'm good with all of those options, man. But what I do want, though, I do want 118 to wrap this up. Like, let's wrap this up. Let's get a little bit more unification. I could see the unification on the Showtime fighters happening. That makes sense because, Casemiro and Rigo over there fighting on Showtime. The winner could fight Donaire since they're on the same thing. I know Inoue has a match coming up. I can't remember against who. But Don San, thank you, man. Appreciate the support. Little Noosh, what's up, man? What's up, bro? So yeah. I they need to wrap this up. Let's get this together. Let's get some more unification because we can really get an undisputed fight as early as the beginning of 122. I mean, a beginning of 2022. And hopefully Inoue doesn't move up by then. All right, but I would like to get like a undisputed fight. All right. And that's that, man. Donaire, congratulations to Donaire. Congrats to Devin Haney. All right, Devin Haney. I know a lot of people weren't that impressed, but I thought it was a big win. All right, I love the win. And much better than the Gamboa performance, and much better, a much more credible win. All right, so salute to them both. Tyrang really slacking with Inoue. Like how is the number one, and we're gonna get into it in a little bit. I don't want to get too much into it, but Bob Arum and Top Rank in general, they're giving us good fights, but Bob Arum running the show is just not good. You're seeing all the things he says about Bud. And speaking of Rigondeaux, same thing was happening with him back in the day. I just think Bob Arum doesn't get it. He's past this time. He's in a different time. And I just don't think he's doing a great job running the show over there. And, I don't even think ESPN and Top Rank are doing a great job promoting their fighters. I just don't. They're giving us good fights. They're definitely giving us good fights. I just don't think they're doing well as a promoters itself. All right. They're just not doing it. They're just not doing it the right way. I can't wait till Bob is done. And, I just think they could be doing so much better with boxing, overall. Bob makes comments that are just so not beneficial for their fighters, and they're just not doing well. I mean, look, we just had an undisputed fight at 140. And these guys didn't start promoting anything until the week of the fight. A week off. And I understand there was a lot of stuff going on. The Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua stuff was going on. What else was going on? Canelo, people were still talking about Canelo and Saunders. But Top Rank doesn't do well with promoting their fights. They just don't. And they push stuff too late. They wait until the week of and dump everything out at once on the week of the fight. I did check, and they had all these specials leading up to the fight with Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez, but they was pumping out stuff day by day within the week. Like what happened before everything before that, when they used to do, like when HBO and Showtime used to have a big fight, they would put out different episodes and stuff weeks leading up to the fight. Plus, if you're a promoter now, right? And this is why I give Eddie Hearn so much credit. He's out there on the internet doing interviews day by day. He's heavy on social media. And if Bob is not going to do it because he's in his 90s, fine, that's understandable. But Bob needs to have someone that is going to be the face of Top Rank. If he needs to sit back, do it. There needs to be the actual promoter. The fighters are not going to always promote themselves. I think the fighters should, but they're not all. They all don't have the personality to do it. Some of them just want to fight, and they don't want to be in the limelight like that. It's up to the promoter. You are a promoter. You're a promoter. Do your job and promote. Fighters are the fighters. All right. So a promoter someone needs to be actively on social media, giving interviews, talking about the fighters, what's going to happen, deals, future fights. Like Eddie does it. Eddie gets it. He gets it. You might not like him, but he gets it. You know, he's so involved in these fights and his fighters. So I feel like Bob needs to do better, and Top Rank overall needs to do better. They need to do much better. All right. All right, man. I'm gonna go lay down. Again, thank you for anyone that was, wish me good. I appreciate that. And there's so much I want to talk. I want to do videos on all these other fights coming up. There's a lot of fights talking about. I want to talk about Jamel Charlo, Castano, all these other fights coming up. This week is Logan Paul against Floyd Mayweather. I would like to cover it, but I do have plans, and I don't want to go out my way to cover that. Really, like I'm not really interested in a Floyd fight with Logan Paul. But I am interested in the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight. I am interested in that fight. But that seems to be the big fight. I know Daniel Dubois is going to be making his return. All right. But not a big week in boxing outside of Floyd and Logan Paul. All right. So anyway, I have a lot more to discuss. I'll be back live tomorrow. I'll probably be back on here tomorrow. So be on the lookout. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.